Okay. StreamYard has let me know that I'm live. Now I just gotta wait for YouTube to let me know that I'm live. And for you early people, you will see that I am not alone today. We got a special guest here on this edition of VypTalk AM. Got my man. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Renee Ritchie is here. Good morning, Renee. How you doing?
Good, man. Good to see you. Happy live timber.
Yes, sir. Live timber rolls on. As you guys are aware by now, I am live streaming every day in September for at least an hour. This stream will probably be an hour or less, but we don't have a lot of time, and I know time usually goes quick with Renee here, so let's just get right to the meat and potatoes, Renee. The internet is abuzz this morning because, you know, everybody was expecting Apple news.
Yeah.
But we didn't really get what we thought we got. I think they updated it with some Apple TV Plus show, and obviously they unveiled their new emoji for the hashtag Apple event. But we were expecting a possible new Apple Watch Series 6 release today, maybe an iPad Air release today, and that could still happen because it's still early. I mean, we don't know. Yeah. Usually there's like a whole time range, but our buddy John Prosser was saying that it was going to happen at 9 a.m. Eastern, but obviously that didn't come and gone, and that didn't happen. But again, it can still happen. So my question to you, Renee, is we haven't really heard too much about what's coming with Apple Watch Series 6. So what can we expect with the Apple Watch Series 6 that's different from last year?
So I think, the two of the big things is there's no saturation in the Apple Watch market. So most people don't even have an Apple Watch. So it's just important for Apple to get something new and shiny on the shelves because it's a huge seller for them every holiday season. It's like the iPod back in the day. But the rumors so far, at least the ones that I've seen, have shown that probably a slightly bigger battery and better power efficiency for sleep tracking, so that, you know, there's more of a chance you'll get to nighttime with the battery still good enough for sleep tracking, and hopefully some sort of faster charging to get it back up to speed. And then it's mostly around sensors, like a blood oxygen level sensor, which Samsung announced with their new Gear, I think it's called the Gear Still watch, a month or so ago, which lets you know how your blood oxygen level is doing when you're working out or when you're sleeping, or because it's 2020, if you might have some sort of pandemic in your system.
So yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a little bit more fleshed out than last year's iterative update, but at most it's going to be an iterative update. But I mean, that blood oxygen sensor could be kind of critical for people that have ongoing health issues and things like that. So, and I think that's where the Apple Watch kind of is where most mainstream consumer electronic devices don't even go. They have the health game on lock between the activity monitoring and heart monitors, and now sleep tracking and a possible blood oxygen sensor. The Apple Watch, it's kind of crazy, but normally when you think about these health-centric things, like most people shy away from that because they don't even want to think about that type of stuff. But when you can include all of those health sensors on a mainstream consumer electronic device that is cool, that has the cool appeal as the Apple Watch, you got a home run. I mean, this is the one mainstream consumer electronic device that could literally potentially save your life. And I don't think you can say that about any other consumer mainstream electronic device that I know of.
Yeah, at least like by design. Like I'm sure like PCs and phones save people's lives. Like you call 911, you always think, but that's just using them as intended. The Apple Watch is specifically designed to save lives, like with blood, like with heart rate monitoring and fall detection, all those sorts of things. That's revolutionary. And I'm glad more watches, like Samsung has a whole bunch of those features now on their watch. And I think Apple's really leading the way for sort of, like you said, consumer health equipment.
Definitely. So Apple Watch Series 6 could still come today, you all. I know the time is gone that things were supposed to happen, but Apple normally does things in like 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific time range or whatever. So they can still happen today. So
hey, in Canada, we got an announcement of Apple in education and Swift Playgrounds. So it's not
right. I mean, you never know Apple. You never know. And
isn't it so confusing and interesting though? Because like I was trying to I try to break this stuff down in my mind, and I'm like, if they announce an Apple Watch today, when would they ship it? Would it be like in a week? Would it be in 2 weeks? And they're gonna have to have watchOS 7 on it. And does that mean that they have to put out, because they haven't put out a gold master for that yet, which means developers can't even upload new apps for it. And then would they have to have iOS 14 ready to go too? Because the activity app has changed on the watch. The watch app has changed. There's like watch face sharing. And so do they need to make an announcement about iOS at the same time? And then what, like just all the repercussions for all of this stuff, I find, because normally there'd just be an event. Like it would be this week. We'd all be like watching them announce everything. They'd give dates for when everything is shipping and it'd just be done. But now it's like anything could happen at any time. It's chaos 2020.
It really is chaos 2020. But you know what? You bring up good points that I didn't even think about. WatchOS 7 and iOS 14 are kind of tied together. You got to have one before you can have the other. So you're right. Theoretically, they wouldn't even be able to release an Apple Watch with WatchOS 7 unless you had an iPhone with iOS 14. And like you said, we haven't even got to the gold master of those betas yet. So you make a very good point. Although I don't think it's beyond the pale for Apple to release new hardware with new software on it before it gets released to the rest of the masses. So that's not unprecedented, but they
could announce it tomorrow too. They could say the Apple Watch is arriving in a week, and by the way, here's iOS 14. Like they could do anything in 2020.
But exactly. But at the same time, they are interlinked, so you kind of have to do them both at the same time. You really can't do them one by themselves. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. It's definitely gonna be interesting. The other thing that is rumored to be announced today is a new iPad Air. Now I think this is supposed to be like 10.8 inches. Obviously, it's an entry-level iPad. So Renee, what else do we know about the iPad Air?
Yeah, this is interesting too, because like one of my favorite things with the iPad line is the way that Apple introduces new technology to the Pro line, and it does get more expensive, which sucks. But then they push that technology down, and now we have like a 10.2-inch iPad that's really good with a keyboard and a pencil. And the new design came out in October of 2018, so like 2 years ago. And I like it for two reasons. One is it increases the value of the iPad Air. Like you're getting a wider screen. Some people are saying Touch ID on the on the power button instead of Face ID, which honestly is probably better for 2020 anyway. But it also makes me think, like, what is Apple going to do with the iPad Pro to increase differentiation there? Like 5G is obvious, but 5G is going to have to go to every device. It's just going to be what the networks are. So does it mean we're finally getting those mini LED screens, or is there something else that's going on there? I love to think of these things in terms of the lineup and where they're positioning all of the different products.
Right. Well, we know that the iPad Air is generally down at the lower end of the totem pole with Apple products as far as iPads go. So I don't know if you're going to get a mini LED on an iPad Air, but I mean, I know we are expecting that kind of later on there. And actually, earlier this year, there was a rumor of a newer iPad Pro with A14 chip and 5G. So we're still waiting if that could potentially come out. But as far as the iPad Air goes, I mean, we're talking about maybe what, an A11, A12 chip, maybe probably A11, because I know the other iPad that got released last year had an A10 chip. So if they are going to release an iPad Air this year, it's probably going to be with an A11 chip. I don't think it's going to be with an A12 chip, considering the iPad Pros have an A12X. So they're using like generation behind which chipset. So probably A11 chip, basically all the features and functionalities of iPad in that thin form factor with the iPad Air. So yeah, it should be interesting.
Maybe it'll fit the Magic Keyboard.
Oh, that would be interesting. Although up until now, that has been exclusively exclusive to the iPad Pro. But maybe you do have an iPad Air with Magic Keyboard support. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if Apple does add that on when they do release it later on.
And then do they have to update the Pro? So like, are they eating too much into the Pro that people will just buy Airs? But they just updated the Pro back in March. And will the people who bought that Pro with the A12Z be all upset now that there's an A14X version?
You know what? It's funny because we're having these conversations, but I'm pretty sure that these are conversations that Apple executives are having every single day. And they probably sit back and laugh at us that we're having these conversations in the public. And they're like, y'all don't think we thought about that? What y'all think we be doing at the Facebook Conversator? Y'all don't think we be having these conversations? I'm pretty sure they be having these conversations too.
But it works. I mean, like they have exactly the same conversations, but they listen to like what other people are saying, and things like Steve Jobs refused to make an iPad mini. He thought it was a dumb idea. He said like you'll have to shave down your fingers just to use it, which is ridiculous because people were using iPhones just fine. But he still like didn't think it was a good idea. And then Eddie Q kept collecting articles from the internet saying how there were 5 and 6 and 7-inch Android tablets and how great they were, and he kept showing them to him. And then Steve did the classic thing saying, fine, I hired you because you're smart. You do what you want, but you better not mess this up.
It's just
you can help people out with like if they're fighting those internal battles, and you can present good arguments, you can help them out.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny, right? Because obviously I haven't been on YouTube too long, and for the last 2 years or whatever, I've been complaining about the lack of picture-in-picture. And I remember getting a comment one day from somebody that was like, "Why are you screaming? Nobody paid attention to you. You don't. You're like a small YouTuber. Blah blah blah. Nobody paid attention to you." So it really kind of made me chuckle when we got picture-in-picture this year at WWDC. And I'm thinking to myself, apparently somebody's paying attention to me because that picture got added. And I'm the only one that I know that's been complaining about that for the longest time. So apparently somebody's listening to me somewhere. So again, it doesn't really matter how big your channel size is. If you have a logical argument, people out there are watching. And like I said before, I don't know if creators are aware of how aware brands are of you and what you say. Like these brands have like whole social media teams that watch everything. And if you are a new YouTuber or you're I just thing, they watch you and they know what you're saying. So if you can present something logical that's not there yet and that doesn't exist, then that brand is listening and they will try to figure out how to implement that if it's feasible for them. But don't ever.
Craig, Viper is talking about the picture-in-picture on the iPhone again. I need you to help me get him all the way off my back about that. Just all the way off my back.
Seriously, I made a whole rant video about the lack of multitasking on iPhones like over a year ago. It was crazy. But yeah, like they listen to, like I think Faulty Carter says it too. If we don't complain, they're not going to make the product better because they're going to think everything is okay. So we have to complain to the brands if there's something wrong so they can actually go out and make the product better. I mean, the Galaxy Fold 1. Samsung heard the complaint. The hinge not durable. The screen, the little film that was able to be peeled off, that shouldn't have been able to be there. So Samsung took all the complaints from the Galaxy Fold 1 and they refined them for the Galaxy Fold 2. And now we have the Galaxy Fold that should have been in the first go round. But again, if we don't speak out, if we don't complain about that stuff, then the brands don't know that, okay, we need to go back to the lab and fix this stuff.
And a way to think about it is like you have 10 complaint points. And if you waste them on a bunch of nonsense, like you put 1 point on a bunch of like things that aren't real problems, you just want to be angry on the internet, then nobody hears anything. But if you put all 10 behind something really important that you really want, then it's super loud and people tend to hear you.
Especially when you're not the only one complaining about this stuff, man.
Yeah.
Definitely. So we got 51 people here, which is kind of crazy, but welcome to Live Timber. Like I said, if you guys are new here, I am Viper, the man about tech. We have the world's greatest Apple journalist here, Renee Ritchie. You are in the midst of Live Timber, which means I am going live every single day in September. So I'm live streaming today, obviously tomorrow, the next day until September 30th. So your boy is doing Live Timber because number one, I'm trying to raise funds to afford all this tech that's coming in the latter half of the year. And I'm just doing it to see if I can actually complete the challenge because I feel like this would be my most difficult challenge on YouTube ever, trying to go live for 30 days because I'm going live for 30 days this month for at least 1 hour every day. And it's kind of difficult to maintain audience retention for like an hour, but I'm going to attempt to do it. And I've been doing well so far, and I appreciate you guys rocking out for an hour. Like the ticker says, super chats are open, not required. If you guys can contribute anything, it will be greatly appreciated. Again, you don't have to be compelled to donate anything. I'm just letting you guys know that the option is there. I appreciate you guys watching each and every day. Every day that I have live streamed this month, I've had at least 30 people watching at one point, which is kind of astonishing because you would think at some point you guys will get tired of me live streaming, but apparently not. You guys keep coming back every day. So I must be doing something right. So I'm going to continue to try to do right by you guys. So thank you guys for rocking out with me. I appreciate you.
And there's Stephen Warwick, one of my favorite people in the chat.
I know.
He's top-notch banter.
I don't know what I did, but Steven has been paying attention to me lately. But what's up, Steven? How you doing, man? For those of y'all that don't know, Steven works for iMore. So shout out to my man, Steven. Definitely legit. He says, can John Prosser recover from this if he was wrong on both accounts, iPad Air, Apple Watch? You know what? That's an interesting question. And I've seen somebody say on Twitter that Prosser's done incredibly shot. Dude, no. If your favorite leaker credibility was shot over one leak, we would have no leakers. We would literally have no leakers. They are all going to be wrong at some point. The thing that you have to remember about Prosser is that he's a lot more right than he is wrong. So even if he gets this wrong, he still has a litany of other things that he got right this year that he can look back on like, I might have got this wrong, but I got all the other stuff right. And I don't know if Prosser's 100% wrong yet today. I mean, we still got a few hours before I was completely saying it's not going to happen, but there's a large time window that Apple operates in the mornings when it comes to press releasing and things like that. So I wouldn't count Prosser out just yet. But it does seem more and more unlikely, especially given what Renee said earlier about OS releasing and things like that, that we will get a new Apple Watch or iPad today. But I don't know. I mean, that's the beauty of it. We just don't know. But I will not count Prosser out. And even if he is wrong, I wouldn't say that, no, you can't pay attention to him because he has his track record speaks for itself. So I would err on the side of giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Back in my youth, when I was in that game, I would get things wrong. But people were much nicer back then. Like I remember I had the date for the 2012 iPhone event in July, and I put it up, and I said it was the iPhone and iPad event, and then like over time, Recode confirmed it, and Jim Dalrymple confirmed it, and The Verge confirmed it, and then I got a really polite note from Pachowski at Recode going, "It's only the iPhone event. The iPad event is the next month." You know, I didn't want to step on your toes or like be mean to you in public or anything, but I just wanted to say that that's what we're publishing. I'm like, yeah, cool. Like I'm just in this to share information. There's no, and now it seems way more competitive, and people, aren't nice to each other. Like I never had all that. Like Gurman was back then too, and there was a bunch of people, and everyone was competitive, but everyone was super civil.
Yeah, like you said, it seems to be a lot more competitive, especially between like the actual real tech journalists and the YouTube content creators that like get leaked sometimes. They are really like, especially the journalists, they are really like competitive with the YouTubers, and I don't get it. I think it's
they used to be bloggers, and the journalists didn't like them, so I would think that they'd have compassion.
You would think so, but apparently not. So Mark Sparrow, what's up, Mark? How you doing? Love your content, Mark. He says 120 hertz promotion is the differentiator between Air and Pro 2. I'd imagine. Oh yeah, you were not getting an iPad Air with a 120 hertz display, not at all.
Yeah, and the amount of RAM in it, and there'll be a whole bunch of differentiators. But it depends how sophisticated you are, and I go into that a little bit in my video today because people are saying, and you did a good video on this too. 100 without 120 hertz, the iPhone is in trouble, and it's just that's only the tech enthusiast is only one part of the high end market. You have people who just always buy the best, and it's every year they do buy because they want it to last as long as possible. People who are on yearly update programs who they just get the next iPhone. It really doesn't matter what's on it. Like it's a very broad market. So it takes like a whole. I think that's why Apple markets experiences. Like yes, they go through all the slides that have all the cool little whiz bang tech things on it, but they clearly position one product as better than another. That's the bottom line for them. Right. If you want better, you buy this one.
Definitely. And again, I don't know why people are saying that if the iPhone doesn't have a 120 hertz display, it won't sell. Do you realize that the best-selling smartphone, at least in North America, has been iPhone for the past, 5, 6, 7 years now? And
not even 1080p iPhone.
Yeah, exactly. Not even a 1080p iPhone. And y'all talk about a 120 hertz refresh rate. Nobody cares about that. Only the hardcore tech nerds care about a 120 hertz refresh rate. The average person doesn't even know what it is or what it means or what it does, and they could care less. They're not worrying about that. They don't care about that stuff at all.
Or it's like HDR, where they care about it when they're looking at it, but then you give them a different phone and they forget that it doesn't have it a couple weeks, like a couple hours later.
So Khalifa is asking, when is the event? We don't know. There is no like event per se. We were expecting a press release this morning, but we didn't really get the press release that we were expecting. But we are expecting an Apple event in the next few weeks. Originally, we thought it was going to be in October, according to the leak from Prosser, but now there's new evidence that might be suggesting that there might be an Apple event this month. So I don't know, but we have not heard any official word from Apple about when the event will be. We just know that it's coming up soon.
We got a hashtag.
That's about it.
I'm waiting for Greg's video on the hashtag. I need a Greg's Gadgets video on the hashtag.
Hashtag. right. That'll be good.
Greg, get on that video, please. I need to know everything about this hashtag.
My tail guard, he's been requested to make a video about the Apple hashtag. he would
do it. I was joking with him on Twitter. If he just did one of his famous thumbnails, it would work. It would totally work.
Oh, absolutely, it work, man. He does. He has that magic with the thumbnails. He has that magic, man. So let's talk about the video that you released today. Because, like I said, when you released that video, I was like, damn, I was thinking some of the stuff myself. So first thing I want to ask you about is 5G in iPhones in 2020. Does it even matter? Now, when you look at it from like an immediate, like short-term perspective, I would say no, it doesn't matter because 5G is still in its infancy, and we don't even have fully fleshed out 5G networks. I mean, T-Mobile is claiming they have a nationwide network, but I mean that's kind of we don't know. AT&T claims to have 5G, which is kind of funny to me because they kind of came out of nowhere with their 5G. I don't know. Verizon is still trying to build out their network, which they haven't done yet. So in the short term, I don't know if 5G is that important, but in terms of having an iPhone that will be supported for at least 5 years and future-proofing your iPhone, then the 5G argument becomes a little bit more compelling because we know that probably within the next 2 to 3 years, 5G is going to be more of a mainstream thing. Like 5G is here, you all. It's not even a myth no more. It's here. It's just not here enough that you should care about it today. But in 2021, 2022, you're going to want to care about 5G. So Renee, can you elaborate a little bit more on your thoughts about 5G in 2020?
Yeah, I mean, it's complicated, and it really depends on what level of nerdery you want to get into on it. Because I would like for most people, just 5G just isn't a reality yet. And you could look at it and say, yes, buy a 5G phone now because, well, you're not going to have any choice. Every phone sold from now on is going to be 5G anyway. But if you're thinking of upgrading just for 5G, it also depends if Apple gets the X50 or X55 modem, because the newer modems are always better. They're more power efficient. They're less hot. And the longer you wait to get a phone with 5G, the better the modem is going to be in it. So if you really want like a good 5G experience, just wait. But you did a video a little while ago that was excellent that said that, it doesn't matter if it's 5G or not, you're getting a Qualcomm modem, and Qualcomm on 4G is so much better than 5G. And the other thing is T-Mobile clowned me a little bit because I was ranting about how terrible FR1, frequency range 1 5G was still, because it was like only, not terrible, but it was only 120, it was like 20% faster than LTE, but it would give like good LTE to more people. And then T-Mobile's like, bam, N41, we're launching it in a whole bunch of cities. And N41 is mid-band, and that's way faster. Like it's 20% faster just on the pure signal strength, but it's way wider. It's 100 megahertz instead of 20 megahertz. So it's like having faster cars and more lanes of cars. And that can go up, all the way up to a gigabit in terms of speed, which is way better. And T-Mobile is just saturating it. And I think we're going to look back. There's a chance Verizon's going to look like Sprint, I think, in a year. Like, we spent how much money on what? Like, it'll be like WiMAX or something, where they're like, all right, we got to build out the low and mid band, and we're going to put the millimeter wave in stadiums. Sorry.
Wow, he just said Verizon might look like Sprint and WiMAX, but I think Verizon's already starting to realize that, because earlier this year they released the Galaxy S20 with sub-6 5G. So yeah, Verizon's already realized kind of the error of their ways, and they're starting to like build out their 5G on lower band tiers of 5G. And I think they're just going to leave the multi-millimeter wave stuff for like urban areas and downtown areas like they have now. But yeah, Verizon, I think they've already realized that, we need to do something different with 5G, because having millimeter wave towers on every corner it's not going to happen. So yeah. But it is kind of funny that Verizon was technically the first to 5G here in the US, but they're going to be the actual last company to have an actual whole network. So it's kind of weird, but now that's a life lesson, you all. That is a life lesson. Sometimes being first doesn't mean you're the best. Yes. I think it's funny that Apple is actually the epitome of this, because we always make fun of Apple about how they're the last to a major technology, but they usually have the best execution of that technology, because they can see what the mistakes are of the first adopters and early adopters. Kind of, they sit back and look, right? They sit back and look, they observe, they're like, oh, we're not going to do that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Oh, we can do that. And then they go out and they execute it the best. But yeah, I think Verizon learning a painful lesson with multi-millimeter wave, and now they got to go back and rethink how they're doing 5G, but they'll get it done. I mean, it's Verizon, they'll be fine. Yeah. But yeah, the other thing that you mentioned in your video, which is very interesting, is I think it pretty much confirmed now that the iPhones this year are definitely not coming with a charger in the box, which kind of, I feel like I feel personally attacked by this. Now, I'm a techie, I got chargers everywhere, but I feel personally attacked. I don't really like the idea of the iPhone coming without a charger, because even though I buy iPhones every year, not everybody buys an iPhone every year. And what about the people that are buying an iPhone for the first time? So you're saying that if they want to charge their phone, now they gotta use some aftermarket third-party charger, or they gotta pay extra for a charger, which comes in every other phone that we know of. What? Renee, how can Apple justify this? Well, so they haven't done it yet. So my hope is that it's all the messaging. Like the messaging for we talked about this, the Pro Display XDR. If they had said it's a $6,000 display, but if you don't need the stand, you just want a Visa mount, we'll knock some money off of it, and people would be like happy. Maybe they'd snark a little bit, but they'd be happy. But they're like, the stand's $1,000. So they just come out and go, like, I'm betting they don't mention it, and like we find out later on the website it's not included or something. But if they just come out and say, and it's a whole thing, because the displays are more expensive this year, and the 5G modems are more expensive this year, and a lot of companies have raised prices like by $100. If you look at what their phones cost last year, or what the phones cost before 5G and after 5G, there's like $100 or more difference. And I think Apple doesn't want to raise prices, but I also think these things aren't that expensive. Like, yes, over hundreds of millions of units, it all adds up, but it's not that expensive, and people are going to feel nickel and dime. Now, there are some people who are going to be like, I don't need it. Thank you for not, including it in the package and wasting it. So my personal preference would be best of both worlds, where it's not in the box. Apple can ship a ton of them in these containers. They can make a whole argument about e-waste. But when you're ordering online, there's a checkbox that says, please send charger. Or if you're in the store and you're buying it, they're like, do you want a charger with that? And you say yes, and you just get it. Like, that to me would be the best solution, because people who don't need it aren't contributing towards e-waste, and people who do need it aren't paying any more for it. And then I think that's the win. Or maybe there's like some incidental shipping charge or whatever if you're ordering it online. It's like $5 to ship it extra or whatever.
but it's just not a big amount for anybody who needs it, and it's saving the planet for anybody who doesn't.
Yeah, it's funny because on this year's Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, Samsung did not include headphones in the box. But if you wanted to get those headphones, you should need to contact Samsung, and they would send them out to you, I think, free of charge. So if Apple were to do something like that with the charger, if you don't get it in the box, but they give you the option to maybe get it free of charge if you contact them, or maybe charge like $5 or something like that, then that might be more feasible. But just like not including it at all and not giving consumers a way to acquire one, I don't know how that will go over with goodwill with the consumer, but I mean, yeah, it just rubbed me the wrong way that you are not including the pivotal piece of the equipment in the box. Like you need to charge the phone. Like the phone has to charge, because after that first charge dies, how you gonna use it again without a charger? And not everybody has a charger lying around. I mean, us techies, of course, we have one, but the average person might not have a charger lying around. So I think it's pretty important that they include that in the box. But like I said, it hasn't happened yet, and we don't know if it's going to happen or not. But there seems to be a lot of evidence that is pointing to it not happening, or the iPhones indeed not coming with a charger in the box. So this is going to be interesting when these iPhones do get released later on this year.
Can you imagine if it's just 2020 based and they come up on stage and say, "Yeah, where's your charger? It's with your headphone jack." How's that for some painfully honest tech? Walk off the stage.
I see what you did. Man, oh my God. It's just wow. It's craziness. It's absolute craziness.
You are getting a cable, though. I think all the rumors say we're getting an even better cable. So like, we lose the charger.
Yeah, the rumors are that we're getting like a braided cable, which is definitely an upgrade, because the regular Apple cables they've been shipping over the past 10 years are flimsy AF, and they fray pretty easily. They're pretty poor. They're pretty poor quality.
Nothing to plug it into, but you're getting the cable.
Yeah, you got nothing to plug it into. But if we get an upgraded cable, that'll be a nice little consolation.
That would be a funny slide too. According to our research, 95% of iPhone customers have a laptop. So you just take this cable and plug it into your laptop.
There you go, man. There you go. So I kind of want to veer off a little bit from Apple stuff, but it would probably kind of tie into Apple stuff when I tie it back in.
Well, before you do that, can we just say that Greg Gadgets, in a moment of self-doubt, said that even I can't do that on a video, and we believe in you, Greg. You are limitless in your potential.
We don't believe you, Greg. We believe you can do it. We don't believe you. We don't believe this nonsense. We do not uphold to this nonsense that you're putting on my live chat, Greg. You can do anything that you want to. You're the same guy who made a dedicated video on the $1,000 stand, Greg. You can do anything you want to do. Come on, Greg.
You're uncancelable, Greg.
Dude, we can't even cancel. We tried to cancel you. We can't even cancel you. You can do it, Greg. You can do it. So, veering off into some non-Apple stuff real quick. Oh my God. Firstly, before I even get into this, shout out to the gaming creators on YouTube. Y'all were up late last night. I mean, damn. Like, I was up late last night too, but not for the reasons that you are up late. I was having videos dropped in my box at midnight. I think Austin never dropped one at 3 a.m. Like, the gaming YouTubers were like working last night. So shout out to you all. But late last night, around I think 11 o'clock Eastern or something like that, there was a leak that was dropped that the Xbox Series S, the console without the disk drive for the next generation of Xboxes, it was dropping with a price tag of $299.
My homies Jez and Zach at Windows Central, they are good at that stuff.
Yeah, and it was, I think it was dropped by somebody named Brad Sams, I think his name is. But then, like Renee said, Windows Central picked up on the information, and then they made a report last night that yes, this is the thing, that this box is coming for $299. Then all the gaming YouTubers went to work last night. It was inspiring watching all these videos just drop video after video dropping my subfeed about this news. Like, I'm like, okay, it dropped late last night. If you guys make a video tomorrow, I'm not even mad at you, man. People are going to bed right now. But no. Gaming YouTube was like, damn, now we dropping these videos.
WERK work.
They're like, yo, we stayed up late. We dropping these videos. When you get them, we'll get them. Rich from UTech USA dropped the video like midnight or 1 o'clock, whatever. A few other gamer reviewers dropped their videos like 1 o'clock Eastern. Also never dropped it at 3 a.m. Eastern. I mean, damn, y'all were working last night. So shout out to the gaming community. Shortly afterwards, I don't know if it was last night or early this morning, Microsoft actually came out and confirmed that yes, the Series X is dropping for $299. Now, they haven't officially dropped the price for the Series X yet, the more expensive one, but a lot of people are saying that that's going to be $499. So this is where I'm going to tie it back into Apple. Obviously, John Prosser had alerted us to a possibility of Apple releasing stuff today. So with Microsoft shortly confirming the leak that happened last night, Renee, my question to you is, is it possible? I mean, I have my thoughts about this, but is it possible that at this point, especially given with everything that's happening in 2020 with the pandemic, are these companies intentionally dropping leaked information? I think they're doing it intentionally. What do you think?
So I think there's a combination. It really depends on the company. Like the cultures are very, very different. Like we've seen Samsung and Google just, leak their own stuff. Like they put it up on their own Twitter accounts. Like, oh, might as well just post this. With a company like Apple, they are culturally, institutionally incapable of leaking. Like what I mean is like the company itself. Like there's never a thing where we as Apple have decided that we're going to leak this. There are people on teams who'll do it. There are people who in different positions that'll do it, but they still get like hella angry, like lividly, like Pixar red character flames coming out their head, because to them it's like, we worked on this, we've got a plan, we've got the marketing set up, and oh, who did this? Why? Like you can see the minute one of those leaks drops, there's just so many unhappy people in Cupertino, and it's not like probably Tim, but like Tim's got spreadsheets to worry about. But you're talking about like previously Phil Schiller, now like Joswiak and the whole marketing and PR team. And probably some of the engineers, because they feel like they wanted to see that moment when everybody saw it for the first time, and now they can't, and they get all angry. But other companies, I think they're much more experimental with their marketing, and if not leaking, then they'll maybe like, hey, I heard this thing's coming out for $500. Oh, well, I do have $500 saved for the holiday season. Wink, wink. And like, okay, confirmed. And then it like, I used to work in marketing, I worked there for a long time, and like it's a very careful balancing act, and it really does. It's hard to explain it, but the more powerful and secure a company is, the less they are willing to do stuff like that. They start to believe their own stuff is much more important. It's like being the hot person at the dance. Everybody wants to dance with you, so you never worry about, not having a partner. And everybody else is like, can I buy you a drink? Can I buy you a drink? That sort of thing. But a lot of the smaller, scrappier companies, yeah, I think they're much more engaged with their communities now.
I like I said, I think things have changed a little bit this year with the pandemic. Like usually these companies will be able to have dedicated like press events in person, but since they can't have these dedicated press events in person anymore, I think they're more willing this year than ever to maybe leak out some of this information so they can build that hype. It's kind of difficult to build the hype if you can't like have an in-person press event like you normally can now. Obviously, they are having virtual events, but as far as like building hype, it's just not the same as having like that in-person press event where you can like build up hype over a period of time. Kind of difficult to mimic that with a virtual event. So I think they're using these leaks as a way to kind of build up hype, especially when these products get closer to launch. I mean, the Microsoft Xbox, the new Xbox, are 2 months away, and we just got leaked last night, and then Microsoft shortly confirmed the leak right after that. So that anytime that happens, like anytime a leak comes out and then it's shortly confirmed afterward, I kind of feel like the leak was planned, because otherwise, why would you come out shortly afterwards and confirm it if it wasn't planned? So I kind of feel like when that happens, those leaks are kind of planned, and then when people get that information out there, the company can shortly come out with their preference, like, yeah, okay, we are selling the Xbox Series at $299. You can get it on November 10th, blah blah blah, and then. Like I think in planned marketing, maybe not all companies do that, but I feel like a lot of these companies are doing intentional leaks, especially this year.
Well, you can tell when it's like it's the same thing with governments, because they intentionally leak things too. Like they walk over to the press room and say, "Oh, it'd be bad if that was an investigation over that." Ha ha ha! And then they walk off, because it's usually like the clumsy ones. Like if it seems clumsy, ill-conceived, not well executed, that's usually the company, because the actual leakers are way smarter than the companies are.
I mean, and I know you said that Apple is kind of reverse to doing this stuff, but let's think about how the iPhone SE was released. It was released in a press release, but we knew almost a month ahead of time when it was coming and what time it was coming, because John Prosser put that information out there. And I am thoroughly convinced now that John Prosser has sources inside of Apple at the executive level. Like, I'm convinced, because there's no other way that he could have the access to the information that he has access to if that were not the case. So I'm thoroughly convinced that he has sources at the executive level inside of Apple headquarters out there in California. But you're talking about the iPhone SE 2020 that was released on April 15th, I think at like 11 a.m. Eastern or something like that. Prosser knew the day, the time, the hour the thing was going to be released. And he said that stuff a month before it even happened. So he had access to that information ahead of time, and he was able to kind of build up that hype for Apple that they normally wouldn't get, because, of course, they didn't have an event for the SE 2020. They just dropped it in the press release. So John Prosser was able to build up that hype from the month that he initially announced it to data that actually announced it. So on that day, we were all ready for that phone to drop. So I think that even Apple has a vehicle that they use to intentionally leak information when they want to do that.
Yeah, I think with the iPhone SE though specifically, that is almost set in stone. Like John has excellent sources, and once that date is set, like I used to find out about dates 3 months in advance for phones, especially because an iPad and a watch you can move those around. It makes no difference. But the iPhone involves carriers, which are your worst nightmare, because like trying to organize 200 carriers around the world all for the same launch date, you can't move that. Like you would have to literally have a game-stopping problem with the device, and even then, some carrier like in Alberta will announce the phone even if you tell them not to. It's like a nightmare. So if it's a phone, like that's 3 months in advance, set down the date, the time, all the carriers are lined up. Everybody knows what time the press release, what time the signs come up, what time take the old products down, what time the websites have to be updated. It's like literally moving a carrier group for an army. Like you have to have super good access to know that, because there's not many people who have that information. And back in the day, it would be like someone's kid would like be snooping around his carrier father's desk and see it and then send it to the blogs or something. So that kind of stuff, it's set in stone. It's the stuff like for the Macs, when he has dates for that, that's more interesting because that's just Apple. Nobody needs to know about that. They can just decide when a new Mac comes out. Like maybe they'll tell Best Buy the next day if they feel like it. But it's nothing like the phones. The phones are really big deals.
Yeah, but it's interesting though, because you say the phones are a real big deal, but I originally thought that there would be no way that Apple will release a new iPhone in a press release, but it happened this year with the SE. So
yeah, they had to cancel the event last minute. Like they didn't anticipate not having an event. I think this stuff now is planned. Like they were going to have a March event and they couldn't. And I don't think they ever. I'm not picking on Alberta. I meant Manitoba because they have 18 different carriers. I apologize. Canadians are so sensitive. Yeah, Manitoba for some reason up until recently had like their own carriers. It was delightful. But yeah, I think they just had to figure out how to deal with the iPhone SE at the last minute. There was nothing else they could do. They couldn't even do briefings. So that was like, well, it's going out.
So, interesting thing about this Apple event hashtag that's out there on Twitter now. Apparently, there's a website that gives you a range for when you can have a hashtag like customized or whatever for Twitter. Apparently, this Apple event hashtag is customized up until September 28th. So a lot of people are surmising from that information that there is going to be an Apple event this month. So Renee, I guess it's a dumb question, but I'll ask anyway. What is the likelihood, Renee, that we're going to get an Apple event this month?
Yeah. So, I mean, they said the devices were a few weeks delayed, which I think grammatically could mean like 2 to 4 weeks would be acceptable within the few week range. And they're usually announced the second Tuesday or Wednesday in September, which means it could be released last week of September, first week of October, maybe second week of October. So as long as the event is 10 days before the orders start arriving, they're fine. So I think end of September. I think they like having a September event. It's just traditional. So if they can do it in September and they don't have to say like, oh, coming next month for everything, which sounds really awkward, they'll do it. And if they can't, they'll wait till October. But end of September sounds like a reasonable time frame. Given WWDC was what, like 2 weeks late, 3 weeks late, something like that?
Yeah, I think like 3 weeks late. Yep.
Yeah. I think that's what 2020 did to us. It put us 3 weeks in the past.
Yeah, but it does seem pretty interesting. Like I said, that the hashtag is valid until the 28th at the end of the month. So you would think that if Apple went through the trouble of setting up that hashtag, that there's going to be some type of event within that time frame. Even though Prosser had originally rumored that there will not be an event until October, but again, like I think Renee, like you said, it's more about when can Apple get these iPhones shipping. And that's the other thing that's kind of weird about iPhones this year. Digitime came out with a report recently that the release is going to be staggered for the iPhone, but it's going to be staggered in a weird way. So according to Digitime, the iPhone 12 Plus and the iPhone 12 Pro will be released first. Now, those are the two 6.1-inch models. So Digitime is saying that those are going to be released in the first wave, and then in the second wave, you get the regular iPhone 12 and the iPhone 12 Pro Max, which is weird to me, Renee, because I feel like if they were going to be staggered, wouldn't it be the iPhone 12 and 12 Plus first, and then the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro and Pro Max second? Like how? Like Does it make any sense to you? Because I'm confused.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a couple ways you could look at it. The cynical one is always that Apple is going to release them in the order that they think will make them the most money. So it's like you release the one that's common or that's, that no one really wants to buy as much first, so that people who can't wait will just buy it anyway. They'll buy both. And then you release the one that's more coveted later on because, people will buy more of those. And the other one is just those are the two known sizes. Like they're already manufacturing 6.1-inch iPhones. So there's probably some differences, but it might just be easier to keep that line going, where the two other ones are new sizes and it takes a little bit longer or it's a little bit more complicated to get that line ramped up. But like you, I thought they would go by model. I think if they were doing it deliberately, they'd go by model. If they're just like, God, everything's on fire this year, just get those phones out. They're taking the easiest ones first, and then the ones that are a little bit more complicated second.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense because, like I said, they already have the mold for the 3.1-inch model already out there, so that'll be easier to manufacture. It's just weird to release them that way, though. I mean, I know back in 2017 we had the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus released first, and then we had the iPhone 10 released later. But the iPhone 10 was a completely new model, so that was more understandable. But
and the 10R also a new model, and it was a few weeks later.
Right, but having the 12 Plus and the 12 Pro released together kind of weird. But like you said, I guess it's up to how Apple can manufacture it and what the timetables are looking like for the manufacturing process, which will dictate how that goes.
And in a better year, they would just probably wait and have them all ready. Like they would have just made the other ones earlier and had them all ready at the same time. But now it's like, please, just get them out.
Oh, another question for you. At this Apple event, actually, no, let me go back. At iPhone keynote events, we normally don't get information about new MacBooks or MacBook Pros or anything like that. So I am of the mindset, Renee, that I don't know if Apple has enough time to do two planned virtual events this year. So I think if they're going to do everything, they have to get most that they can get done in one event because I think I don't know if time will allot them to do everything in two events. So my question to you is: do you think that there will be two Apple events this year, or do you think we'll just get one mega Apple event, which will include iPhones, iPad, and maybe a MacBook information too?
So again, it's 2020 and everything's up in the air. Normally I would think that if they do a September event late, it's harder to do an October event. There's just not much time left in the year. Right. But we saw Samsung do part 1 and part 2, for their events. And the part 2 was 20 minutes. And if they're going to produce an event, they could produce a normal iPhone event and then produce a special Mac event for 20 minutes later in October. Or do them all the same. It's so hard to predict this year because everything is different. My guess is that anything that requires explanation will get folded into September event. And then it's just how much attention do you want to take off the iPhone with the Mac? How much attention do you want to usually it was the iPod was the big star. So the iPod is in September and we don't want anything distracting from that. Then the iPhone was there. But last year they did the 10.2-inch iPad in the same event. It's just, why not? So yeah, I don't know. They have a lot of products, Viper. That's the thing. There are so many products that are still scheduled, and that's a lot to fit into one event, especially, but maybe because there's no audience, no one's clapping, they'll have more time to do it. I don't know.
You make a good point because the way they were able to flow at WWDC was magical, man. They just flow from one thing to another. It was beautiful. So maybe they can do that. But I agree with you. They have a lot of products to announce this fall. We're talking about possible new MacBook. We're still trying to figure out what's going on with the AirPods Studio, which are the over-the-ear headphones. AirTags are still out there. You got the new iPhones, new iPads. What else out there? Oh, maybe new HomePods. I don't know, whatever about that, but maybe new HomePods. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that Apple is rumored to be announcing this fall, and it's going to be crazy for them trying to get all of that into one event. But I mean, they can do it. If anybody can do it, it's Apple.
Yeah, I mean, they're good at that. And Phil is an Apple fellow now. One of his only jobs is Apple events.
Right. I mean, you got one job, Phil. You got one job.
He's I'm busy with the App Store. Epic's being jerks, but I got to do an event as well. Damn it.
Oh, since you bring that up, let's talk about that. So at this point, we know what's going on with it. Apple and Epic are fighting in court because Apple kicked Fortnite out of the App Store. And the way it's set up right now is that Epic, they still can develop an Unreal Engine on iOS and macOS, but Apple did go ahead and delete their Fortnite developer account and Fortnite is still out of the App Store. Now Epic is trying to reappeal to the court to get Apple to allow Fortnite back into the App Store. But I'm just thinking to myself, how do you think that's going to play out? Like, you knowingly broke your terms and conditions when you added that direct payment solution inside of Fortnite. You have no leg to stand on as far as getting Fortnite back into the App Store. So, Renee, what are your thoughts on Epic trying to reappeal to get Fortnite back in the App Store when they have no leg to stand on at all?
Yeah, Tim Epic is just fun to watch. I mean,
oh man,
he's running this like a wrestling promo almost. He's like coming out giving wrestling style interviews, and it's fun. There are real problems with the App Store, and it kind of disappoints me that Epic is. I'll say it again, not the Batman we want or need for this. Like, they're not the poster child for the developer who's really suffering under the App Store. The issues are so different. This is $1 billion company that essentially wants to keep more profit from their skins and emotes business, create their own store so that they can charge developers for being in it. It's and it's an opportunistic time for them, but I just want to say, stop hitting yourself. Just stop hitting yourself. Because like you said, like they're saying that the App Store doesn't provide value, and now complaining at how much money they're losing for not being on the App Store.
According to our boy Steven here, they're losing $26 million a month without App Store revenue.
And they'll just say, "Oh, it's because Apple's a monopoly." But it's like, no, you tried sideloading on Android. You came running back. Like,
literally.
We want our store on your store, and it's like talking to your parents. It's like, I want the car, and I don't want any curfews, but I'm not moving out.
Right. Like, literally, I just find it funny and baffling and amazing all at the same time that Epic tried what they wanted. When they came onto the Play Store, when they came into Android, they were not in the Play Store. They refused to put Fortnite in the Play Store. So the only way that you can get Fortnite in the beginning was to sideload it. But then when they found out that nobody was sideloading, that's when they put their head between their legs and went into the Play Store. So you tried this before and it didn't work. So I don't know what they're trying to do. Like, I don't know if having their own app store is even going to give them what they want. I mean, it might give them I don't even know, because let's play devil's advocate. Let's say if Epic got their wish and if they got their own store inside of iOS, who's going to use that? Nobody with an iPhone is going to Epic Store on iOS. No one's doing that.
Well, they'll make it exclusive. Like, they'll make it the only place to get Fortnite. So you'll have to download it. And like on the PC, it's not a good store. Like that, I think what gets lost in this argument is that they made a crappy store. And so people are going to be forced to use a crappy store to get Fortnite. And Mr. Tech Rant, awesome seeing him too. He's saying PUBG is loving all this, but like PUBG just got banned in India because their own PUBG is not owned by India, but PUBG Mobile. PUBG is not owned by China, but PUBG Mobile was pushed out by Tencent. But Tencent owns 40% of Epic as well. So as soon as India finds out about Fortnite, I mean, like this whole 2020 thing is like, we're banning TikTok here. We're banning, like, they banned TikTok there too. Might ban it in the US. Like, what's going to happen? Oh yeah, it's just Gundam. That sounds like it's Chinese. I'm going to ban that. It's Japanese. I don't care. I'm banning everything.
Man, 2020 has been quite the year. 2020 has been quite the year, man.
It's over ambitious. Like, just stop it already.
It's the hits that keep on giving, man. Like,
sit down, 2020. Sit down.
Sit down. Like Foster Carter play 2020. Calm down. You calm down. Like, seriously, the gift that keeps on giving, man. But yeah, I just don't know what Epic thing's going to happen here when they normally violated the Apple rules. And again, they might have won the appeal as it relates to Unreal Engine, but when you knowingly violated App Store rules with Fortnite, you have no legal leg to stand on to get Fortnite back into the App Store. And the other thing that's kind of funny, Renee, is that Apple told them what they needed to do to rectify the situation. Apple's
and they can still sue them. Apple's like, you can still sue us. That's fine, but just be in compliance while you do it.
Right. If you want Fortnite back into the App Store, you got to comply. All you got to do is comply. Take that direct payment solution out of Fortnite, and we'll allow you back in. But Epic, for whatever reason, like you said, they keep hitting themselves, and they don't want to do it. And here we go. Kind of.
Thanks, Tim Epic.
It's silliness. Yep. And the other thing that kind of made me chuckle is that people are blaming Apple for why their iOS people can't play Fortnite. No. Don't blame Apple. You need to be blaming Epic, because Epic knew what would happen when they started down this road. And now that we are here, people want to make Apple to be out. They want to make Apple out to be the bad guy, when in actuality, Epic knew what they were doing. Epic knew that Apple would kick them out of the store. Epic wanted them to kick them out of the store. They had a whole campaign ready. 1980 Fortnite. So Epic knew that when they broke Apple's rule, they would get booted out of the App Store. So tell me something. When Epic was planning all of this, knowing that Apple would eventually boot them out of the App Store, did they care about you all? Did they care about y'all when they were doing that? I don't think so. They didn't get one monkey's nip about any of you all Fortnite players. They didn't care about y'all at all. Don't blame Apple, blame Epic, man. They didn't care about.
And again, there's like serious issues with the app. And I don't want to say like it's not malicious. It's just the app stores are 10 years old and they were not designed with like game streaming services and all this stuff in mind. And they've been slow to evolve and they do need to be completely revised. But what Epic's doing doesn't help anybody with that. Like, I think if you think they're your knight in shining armor, they're just, you're going to take it off. You're going to see an undead skeleton creature trying to eat your brain or something.
Seriously, it's craziness, man. It's crazy. But yeah, I don't. Eventually, the only way Epic's going to get it Fortnite back into the App Store is going to be they have to comply. But the other problem is that now they don't have a developer account no more. So now they got to find a way to get reinstated into the developer program before they can even get Fortnite back into the App Store. Like, damn, man. Whew.
Yeah, and it's the thing is, like, it's also one of those things, like, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. And a lot of people for years were saying we hate these cable bundles, cable's a monopoly, get rid of them. And then all these services start stripping out, and now they want you to pay, instead of like $60 for everything, it's like $10 for like one thing. And if you start adding up the bills, like the bundles, like maybe some of those weren't so bad. And we could end up with like 30 different app stores with like have to figure out which app is on which store, and all of them having like different payment processes. And
it's a mess.
Yeah,
it's a mess. So before we got out of here, we got about 9 minutes left. Before we get out of here, Renee, I think you've watched Cobra Kai, right? I think you watched.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh my God, Renee, I watched it for the first time last weekend. Wow.
It's like it doesn't take itself seriously. It half like makes fun of the old movies, but then also references them like in a very reverential way, and it's a really nice blend of the two.
Bruh, the end of season 2, the high school fight scene gave me all kinds of life. One of the best fight scenes I've ever seen on TV, Renee. I was just like, damn, like, wow.
Woo! But it's like the little things are smart. Like the daughter is misbehaving, like, give me your phone. And she starts, wait a minute, give me your watch too. And I'm like, see, people, this show actually knows people have watches now.
Right, exactly, right. Oh, Gabriel, wow. So Epic does have a fan out there. Gabriel said Tim Epic. No, never mind. He said Tim Epic.
Nice.
But shout out to Gabriel for the $20 super chat. Thank you, Gabriel. I appreciate you, man. It's always support, man. So thank you.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He is awesome. Again, if you guys want to support, you can super chat, not required, but anything that you're willing to contribute, greatly appreciate it. So thank you, Gabriel. But man, Cobra Kai, amazing show. I had no idea. I never watched it when it was on YouTube original, but I watched it this weekend. I was floored at the fighting, like the fight scenes alone. Like, okay, I'm ready for season 3, but apparently season 3 is not even coming until 2021. So like,
I think it's finished, but they're just waiting. But and they're bringing back all the people. It's so good. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. It's good. It's good. Matt McCourt wants an update on the Series 6. We have no update. It was not released, and we kind of talked about that earlier. But Renee brought up a good point that watchOS 7 beta has not entered Gold Master phase yet. So theoretically, watchOS 7 is not even available. It's not even ready, I should say, for mass consumption yet. So, with that information, it's kind of unlikely that we'll get an Apple Watch Series 6 today. But again, I would not count on John Prosper just yet, but it does seem high. It does seem more and more unlikely that we'll get a new Apple Watch today, or iPad for that matter. But you never know. Keep your eyes open, baby. Keep your eyes open.
Yeah, and again, it's not that. I mean, they could announce the Apple Watch today and then put the Gold Master out tomorrow. I mean, you never know. Right. It's just like a lot of things have to fall into place for this, but it'll come. Like I made a joke the other day. Like I only 99%. I believe. Sorry. I only believe things when Apple executives hold them up on stage, and even then, 99% of the time because air power.
I gotta do it, y'all. I gotta do it. Oh, shot fired on the podcast.
I mean, like nothing. Just to make the point that nothing's for sure, regardless of who you hear it from.
Oh. That cut deep, Renee. That cut deep. They still heard from that cut, Renee. Man, they will never, ever.
It's hard to ship stuff. It's hard to ship stuff. Like Apple makes it easy because they don't ship very many things, and so they can really focus on them. But how many things get announced at I/O every year that like never come out or by the next year don't exist anymore?
Yeah, you make a good point, man. You make a good point. So we got 5 minutes left, Renee. Any parting thoughts for the people?
No, I mean, I think it's going to be a wild season. So like, I wouldn't get too emotionally invested on any product coming out at any time. Like, just enjoy this stuff. Enjoy all the stuff that John Prosser says. Enjoy all the stuff that Mark Gurman says. It's hard to plan your purchasing decisions this year because there isn't one big event. So just take it in stride. Don't let it stress you. When there's an announcement, be happy. Like, decide whether you're going to buy it or not. But don't let it. And don't be mean to any of the people. They're working really hard to try to bring you the best information they can.
Yeah, I mean, like we were talking about earlier, this whole fighting between people on Twitter about Apple is kind of crazy. I mean, dude, you're not always going to be right. You're not always going to be wrong. It doesn't matter who you are. At some point, you're going to be wrong. At some point, you're going to be right. There's no point in fighting over it. Just like Renee said, just enjoy the stuff when it happens. And because even though this has been a crazy year, there has still been a lot of new tech dropped this year, and there's still a lot of new tech coming around this year. So it's Can
you imagine, like, as much as a terrible hellstorm of a Sharknado year this has been, we've gotten so many great cameras. We're getting Ampere from NVIDIA, Navi 2 from AMD, the first Apple Mac GPUs in silicon. There's so much amazing technology still coming out.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of stuff. Next generation consoles are coming. We finally got confirmation for the Xbox Series X, even though S, I should say, not S. We got the confirmation from Microsoft about the Series S. We have not got the confirmation for the Series X, but I mean, that can't be too far behind. A lot of people are rumored that there's been a lot of rumors, I should say, that Sony's supposed to be announcing PlayStation 5 news tomorrow. I don't know if that's the case, but we are getting the Call of Duty multiplayer reveal tomorrow, so maybe Sony will sneak one in after that. I don't know. Then again, I didn't expect everything to happen last night with gaming that happened last night. So, like Renee said, anything and everything can happen in 2020. You gotta put your hat on, put your seatbelt on, and buckle up because 2020 is a wild ride, and we're still got 3 months to go. Whoa.
Oh, Viper, former presidential candidate Gregory G. McFadden wants to know if you're ordering your 24-karat gold PS5.
No, I thought he tweeted me about that leak from across the pond about pre-order going live at some point. But again, I can't do anything until it goes live on Amazon or Sony like put their pre-orders up here in the USA. But yeah, I'm waiting for Sony of America here to figure out what they want to do. But
I believe Gadgets is his middle name for people who are asking.
Right.
Gregory Gadgets McFadden.
Right. McFadden. Gregory McFadden. But yeah, I think that part of the reason why Microsoft leaked the Series S information yesterday is because they know that Sony is close to announcing the PlayStation 5 info. So I think we're going to get some PS5 info today or tomorrow. So something is happening. It's happening real fast because Microsoft would not have made that stuff known if they didn't know what Sony was up to. Because contrary to what people believe, trust me when I tell you, you think John Prosser gets leaks and things like that. These companies communicate with each other. They know what's going on with each other. They know. So
it's a giant game of cat and mouse. It's like, well, you go first. No, you go first. No, you. No, you. No, you. No. It's like the two Spider-Man animated characters.
Right, and they know. Like they talk to each other. Sony talks to Microsoft. Microsoft talks to Sony. They know what each other's doing. They already know. Like Sony already knows how much the Xbox is going to cost. Microsoft already knows how much the PlayStation 5 is going to cost. They already know. They already know. What they're doing now is just like cat and mouse, but they already know. They know this stuff already. So we just gotta wait. So I think Gabriel said that we might get some news here from Apple in the next minute or so. I don't know, man. I don't know. Somebody did
every hour though. Their servers are going to be hit every hour by all the tech community, like just hitting refresh at 11, at 12, at 1, at 2.
Right. Let's see. Somebody just sent me a screenshot of a product, Apple product release that happened at 11 a.m. Eastern, which is in about a minute here. So I guess we can hang around for another couple of minutes just in case something happens, but I highly doubt it. I don't want to hold Renee up too long. I know he's a busy man. But since you guys want to wait another few minutes, we can wait a few minutes. I doubt if anything happens though, but we'll wait. Why not?
Just don't hit the refresh button so often that Viper goes off the air. Like, just save him some bandwidth.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
There's no console that's garbage. Like, it's 2020. We can't hate on different whatever makes somebody else happy. If I like Apple and you like Samsung, if I like Nintendo and you like Atari, it's fine as long as people are enjoying what they have.
Isn't that illegal? Oh, you mean the fact that they talk to each other? No, I don't think so. That's not illegal. I mean,
you can't price it. Like, you can't conspire to raise prices on consumers.
Oh yeah, yeah. But the fact that they know it's not illegal. I mean, this stuff happens every day. This is business, man.
They're undercutting. They're doing what the government likes. They're just trying to push prices down.
People. I mean, business is happening regardless. So that is going on. That is going on. But before we do get out of here, thank you to Renee for spending an hour with me. I told him he had to stay the whole hour, but he did. So thank you, Renee. I appreciate you.
No, of course, man. This is fun. I love this.
Steven said, "What is Atari?" Atari is a long dead ancient video game console.
There's this, so on Nebula, there's this series, Alex Goes Bananas, where Alex from Technicality learns about things because he's so young. So things like the movie Clueless or Rob Zombie. So we all start off saying, have you heard of this? He's like, no, none of my friends know what this is. And then we like force him to learn about 1980s culture. That's what I feel like with Steven. It's like, I have to teach him everything about the 80s and 90s because he just wasn't around.
Hey, somebody got to do something. Somebody got to teach the youngins about
then he can explain what yeet means to me, and we'll go back.
right. All right, so I'm trying to see as many things happening in the newsroom, but apparently nothing is going on. So the wait continues. Apparently, the wait continues.
Also, listen to Viper and don't trust every Twitter account with the name Analyst Leaker in the bio.
Oh God, I made I made an entire video about the people that you could trust with Apple stuff. There's only 3. If their last name is not Weinbach, Gurman, or Prosser, I would especially take what they say with a grain of salt. Just because there's a lot of new Apple leakers popping about of nowhere this year, and I don't know what the end game is. They're trying to get famous or something, but no, it's not happening. I'm not paying them no mind. Ain't nobody
like last year, everyone put drone and cryptocurrency in their Twitter bio to get followers, and now it's leaker in the bio.
Kind of goofy. I'll find the newsroom here. There it is. Oh, it's newsroom.com. All right. Yep. Nothing is in the newsroom. So on that note, we are going to get out of here. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you to Gabriel for super chatting. I appreciate you guys. So thank you so much for that. As you all know, I will be back tomorrow with another edition of VypTalk AM. Thank you again to my man, Renee Ritchie, for hanging out for an hour.
Thank you, sir.
We're out here, man. I guess keep refreshing for another hour or two and see what happens. But if it doesn't happen by probably 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. Eastern, it's probably not happening. So there you go. But until the next time, people, this your boy Viper, the man about tech. You know where to find me. So come back.